MAGA isn't dead, and the proof comes in the form of elections. It was a huge primary night in 6 states last night, and the winners, they were Trump picks. 37-0 for Trump endorsements, a clean sweep for Trump backed candidates. Let's look at some of the big races we were following, starting in Kentucky, where Congressman Thomas Massie has lost his primary to Trump backed challenger Ed GALLREIN. GALLREIN defeated Massie after President Trump personally attacked him over several high profile breaks with him, including the Epstein Files fight. GALLREIN now moves into the general election in November, voters sending a strong message that they're sticking with the president.
I want to thank a few folks, and bear with me, I'll keep this short. I want to thank President Trump for his support, his endorsement, and his counsel as I navigated this campaign, which is a journey of unto itself, and for his courageous leadership of our nation at this critical time. I want to emphasize that, this critical time and juncture in history. Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank my family that have endured this campaign in many ways that have been so unfair to them. I want to thank my team back here, and this is some of them here. Round of applause.
Massie conceded and promises to continue to fight until his term runs out in 7 months.
Welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever in the 250-year history of this country. It's not just the most expensive. This thing went on longer than Vietnam. It started 9 months ago, and they didn't even have a candidate, and they decided they want to take me out. I want to start by thanking the volunteers who have put so much effort into this. Some of you came from all across the country. Some of you are homegrown. I love all of you.
Cell phone cameras caught President Trump making a comment about Massie while at a congressional event at the White House last night.
Massie, think he was a bad guy. He deserves to lose. Thank you very much, everybody. Wait, don't surprise me.
A quick mention about Massie there last night. This election is another huge win for Trump. He had a huge night. Also in Kentucky, Congressman Andy Barr has won the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate, moving one step closer to the seat being vacated by retiring Senator Mitch McConnell. He, too, endorsed by the president. On to Georgia, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is advancing to a June 16th runoff in the Republican race for governor against Rick Jackson. Jones endorsed by Trump. Another big note in this race, Secretary of State Ben Raffensperger, he lost. He's an enemy of the president. Moving on to Alabama. Huge news here. Senator Tommy Tuberville has won the Republican primary for governor. He will now face Democrat Doug Jones in November. So altogether across 6 states, the takeaway here, Trump-backed candidates had a strong night. And those with TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome, they're seething this morning at the fact that President Trump continues to dominate the Republican Party. And in Texas, it's early voting there. With Election Day next Tuesday for their runoff elections, we've been waiting for a long time on President Trump to make an endorsement in a huge race for Senate there. And yesterday it happened. He did, sending shockwaves not only through Texas, but the entire country. Between incumbent John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton, the president has endorsed Ken Paxton. In a very lengthy Truth Social post, the president gave a detailed explanation as to why. Now, this is much longer than most of the president's endorsements. The president says this in part: the highly respected Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, an America First patriot, and someone who has always been extremely loyal to me and our amazing MAGA movement, is running for the United States Senate to represent a place I love and won big 3 times with 6.4 million votes in 2024, the most votes in the history of the state by far. I know Ken well, have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster and, very importantly, the Save America Act, something which polls at 87%, including Democrats, and yet can't seem to get approved. John Cornyn, he says, is a good man, and I worked well with him, but he was not supportive of me when times were tough. And despite having the most successful economy in the history of our country during my first term, and with all the many other things that I accomplished, John was very late in backing me in what turned out to be a historic run for the Republican nomination, and then the presidency itself, both of which were landslide victories, and most importantly, he says, gave our country what we have today, the golden age of America. We have already made America great again, but now he says we want to make our nation better than ever before. Therefore, Ken Paxton has my complete and total endorsement to be the next United States Senator from the great state of Texas. Ken Paxton, he says, will never let you down. The moment this endorsement was put out on social media, the crowd at a Paxton event, they started celebrating. Out of their seats and on their feet, they were celebrating, and Ken Paxton then came on stage to address his supporters.
It is so good to be here. I guess I'm a little late. I was waiting on a little announcement. Did y'all see that? Well, first of all, Carissa, thank you for being here. She's so amazing. You are so blessed to have such a great state representative. And I'll tell you what, I'm so honored to have President Trump's endorsement. His endorsement, in my opinion, is the most significant endorsement that in my lifetime. So when he endorses, it has a tremendous impact. We're already doing really well, but certainly I have so much respect for the president and so appreciate his endorsement. And I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
Paxton put out this statement saying, I am incredibly honored to have President Trump's complete and total endorsement. No one has ever fought harder for the American people than President Trump, and I look forward to championing his America First agenda in the Senate. Texas, get out and vote. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance held a press briefing yesterday just moments after the endorsement, and he was asked about it by reporters. Here's what he had to say.
Saw the president endorse Ken Paxton over John Cornyn in the Texas Senate race. Do you think that sends a message going forward for the next cycle to senators, considering running for re-election, or any mega-aligned potential candidates that are considering challenging them?
Well, I'd say a couple things, Nick. First of all, I think the president's very gratified by the response that he's heard from the base and from a lot of voters, I think, who are passionate about Ken Paxton. We think Ken Paxton is going to be a great senator for the people of Texas, but most importantly, a great United States senator who can work on solving the problems that all of us confront as a country together. I've known John Cornyn for a long time, but unfortunately, when it really counted, Ken Paxton was there for the country, was there for the president, and that's why he ultimately earned the president's endorsement. He thinks he's going to be a better senator, thinks he's going to make a better candidate, and so I do think it sends a message, but really not just the endorsement, but one of the things the president has done very effectively, going back 10 years in his leadership of the Republican Party and the country as President of the United States, is he said, I want people who fight for the good. I want people who can't be bought by corporate lobbyists, who can't be bought by Wall Street, who can't be bought by special interests, who are going to go to Washington and fight for the people who actually elected them to those positions. And I think one of the things we've seen in the Republican Party, while I can't say that all of our representatives are perfect or all of our senators are perfect, we have seen a much better crop of talent come into Washington since Donald Trump has been the leader of the party and the leader of the movement. I do think we're going to continue to see that happening. But I think the message that people should take from this is fundamentally, you have got to serve the people who sent you. And if you don't do that, you're going to find yourself out of step with voters or out of step with the President of the United States, and that's not a good place to be politically. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
The great Charlie Kirk warned us about John Cornyn many years ago. Let's take a look back at one of his broadcasts.
It is simply and purely shocking. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about his voters. Any decent person that gets booed by their voters, any decent person that all of a sudden gets rebuked by the very people that gave them political power would stop and say, maybe I'm heading in the wrong direction. And they'd back off. Instead, John Cornyn gets in front of the entire Texas Republican Convention and gets booed. And then he goes back to D.C. and says, I'm going to show those people. I'm going to show the deplorables. I'm in charge, not you. I'm the senator, not you. I'm in charge. I have never, in my 10 years of doing this, seen such an intentional, brazen, and defiant mode of action as what I have just seen from John Cornyn. I'm not saying it's the worst bill I've ever seen. That's not true. I'm not saying that it's the worst vote I've ever seen. That's not the point. The point I'm making is I have never seen in my 10 years of doing this someone so openly rebuked by their voters and then so quickly turning 180 degrees around and saying, I don't care. I've never seen it. Usually, when you show up to a town hall and you confront them, they say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to change my vote. Cornyn doesn't like you. And he jokes about it, actually. Cornyn hates you. He knows he'll still get money from his corporate donors. He knows that. Instead of being allied with his voters and be like, maybe there's something I could learn here, he pokes him in the eye and says, no, 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 no. I'm the senator. You're the serf. You're not a citizen. I'm in charge.
I sure do miss that man. Paxton's odds of winning soared after the Trump endorsement. New ads are already going out across the Lone Star State. Here's one.
Paxton is the conservative fighter they couldn't cancel.
An attorney general who has really led the way, somebody who has been brave and strong, Ken Paxton.
Ken Paxton is America's most conservative attorney general. He sued Joe Biden over 100 times to stop his lawless agenda. As Attorney General, Ken Paxton protected our gun rights, defended the right to life, and took on the radical transgender movement to keep men out of women's sports, locker rooms, and bathrooms. A fearless conservative, he's taken on the establishment and held big tech and big pharma accountable. Now, Ken Paxton is running for Senate to stand with President Trump and help him make America great again. As our next senator, Ken Paxton will cut our taxes, defend our borders, and eliminate all the woke programs John Cornyn funded. Stand up for Texas. Fight for our future. Join the Ken Paxton for Senate team today.
Again, early voting in Texas is going on right now. It's a race to the finish. Election day in Texas for runoffs is next Tuesday. 2026 midterms are anything but boring. Lots of action as we head into November. Full coverage around the clock. Make sure you're logged in to LINDELLTV.com. Also, we mentioned the vice president held a press briefing yesterday as Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt remains on maternity leave. Great questions from the press. Also, fake questions from the press. You always get a little bit of both. Vance had no problem shutting down the fake news. Here's an example in case you missed it.
The president's financial disclosures were released recently, and they showed a lot of stock trades in companies that he has talked up at events official events at the White House on his True Social account, sometimes even putting the stock ticker symbols in his posts and encouraging people to buy their stock. Americans, according to recent polling, are increasingly describing the president as corrupt. And trading stocks...
This is a hell of a question.
Thank you, sir. Trading individual stocks is something that you said that public officials should not be able to do when you ran for Senate all those years ago. And yet the president, who arguably has access to more non-public information than your average senator, is not only buying and selling individual stocks either through his trust.
Okay. What's the question?
The question is, the question, sir, is how can you and your administration argue to Americans that you're cleaning up corruption, you're preventing fraud, you're fighting the sorts of things that harm people and people's financial situations, when the president seems to be talking up stocks that he owns, selling them, and enriching himself?
Okay, so here, let me answer your question here. That was a doozy. Before I answer your question, I want to just observe there are different ways to ask a question. Okay, you could just ask a question, try to get your answer, or you could do like a speech where you say, you know, Mr. Vice President, you're a terrible human being, and so is the president, and so is the entire cabinet, and then I'm like, what's your question? And then your question is, how dare you? Come on, man. Have a little bit of objectivity in the way that you ask these questions, because there were a lot of things in that speech masquerading as a question that didn't actually get asked, okay? Number one, the president doesn't sit at the Oval Office on his computer on his like Robinhood account buying and selling stocks. That's absurd. He has independent wealth advisors who manage his money. He is a wealthy person. He has had success in business. He's not making these stock trades himself. And your question imputes that. It doesn't say it exactly, but a reasonable person listening to that question would assume the president is sitting around and doing that. He's not. Second of all, you're right. I am a big fan of banning members of Congress from trading stocks. So is the President of the United States. All of us believe that nobody should be taking proprietary information gained from public service and buying and selling stocks. We want to ban that process. And I think the way to lead by example is banning that process, banning that approach, and making it illegal, which is exactly what the president has proposed doing.
You would think by the time a reporter gets to the White House, and you know, that's a job many reporters would love to do. It's a dream job for so many. But you would think by the time they get to the White House, they'd have a little more couth. But they don't. Rubio filled in last week. Vance filled in this week. Can't wait to see who's on deck for next week. Always interesting at the White House press briefings. Okay, now I want to turn our attention to hidden secrets of COVID-19. Questions still swirl around the outbreak and new revelations on just how much Dr. Anthony Fauci knew. We have with us today vaccine expert Adam Finnegan. Adam, thanks so much for being here with us today. Let's go back a few weeks. One of Fauci's top advisors has been indicted for his role in the COVID outbreak. To you, what does this reveal about what was hidden from us?
Yeah, it just shows that they were, he was charged with 1 count of conspiracy, 2 counts of destruction, alteration, falsification of records, and they also included alleged kickback schemes. And so there was plenty of stuff that they knew that they weren't telling the American people. There was just a CIA whistleblower who came out and testified to Rand Paul and the other congressmen. And also, there was huge problems with this vaccine rollout, and that may have also come into this.
Right, and you just mentioned that CIA whistleblower. I want to take a quick look back of his recent testimony when he came out and told Congress what he knew. And he talked about Fauci's role in this. Let's take a listen.
Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20-plus years.
Adam, he's saying that this was intentional on the part of Dr. Fauci. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, when he rolled that vaccine out, so this vaccine, it creates a condition known as immune tolerance. Immune tolerance is something that I addressed in my book, The Sleeper Agent, that was discovered by Eric Traub, where it basically just kind of, it blunts your immune system, but it's not a harmless process. And you remember how they were saying, well, this isn't going to stop infection, it's going to suppress symptoms. Well, they do that by suppressing the immune system, but it's not a harmless process. It's actually very harmful. And that's why there are now oceans of vaccine injuries of people that, and when they go in to get help, they can't get help because it's the same exact thing that happens with Lyme disease. And all, a lot of people with Lyme disease, they can't get help from the public health system. Well, it works the same exact way. So the Biden's administration mandated the vaccine, begged everybody to get the shot, told them that if they didn't, there'd be a winter of death. And then so all these people, some to keep their jobs, some because they were, just genuinely concerned, got it. And then there's an ocean of vaccine injured people and, flooding into the hospitals, and they couldn't help any of them. So it was very, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you mentioned Lyme disease. You've had a personal battle with Lyme disease. How does this shape your understanding of immune tolerance and chronic illness?
Yeah. So and you can think of, I know it's a word that doesn't make much sense to people, but you can think of it as immune tolerance is your body is suppressed. Your immune system is suppressed into a state where you're forced to tolerate harmful pathogens that you should otherwise be keeping out of your body. And so it's not like I said, it's not a harmless process. And when I started looking into the mRNA vaccine, I realized that it stimulates the very same receptors that cause this. And what I found was in 2012, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with NIH, were funding and publishing papers such as Disease Tolerance as a Defense Strategy. They were looking at this like it was an acceptable form of immunity. But when you go back and you look at the history of that, which immune tolerance was discovered by Eric Traub, he's the main person I speak about in The Sleeper Agent. If you look at all of the research surrounding that, it's actually very harmful. You get what I call the dark triad of immune tolerance when you induce this, and that's chronic disease, neuropsychiatric and neurological disorders, and cancers. And so that's a huge deal. That's a major red flag. And so he definitely knew. Anthony Fauci has a background, and I checked all of his earlier publications, everything. He knew all about this condition. And it's beyond comprehension that they would think of this as a viable solution, but they did.
So one of his top advisors has just been indicted. Do you think that something's going to happen with Fauci? There are so many people who are disgruntled with everything going on with the COVID vaccines and the COVID era. They believe the same that you do, same that the whistleblower said just last week, saying that he intentionally knew what was going on. Is there hope that something, or do you believe that something was going to happen to Anthony Fauci?
I mean, I hope so, but a lot of people are used to just being kind of hoodwinked and fooled and nothing happens, and people want accountability and they're not getting it often. I hope that something does come from this, but it's what time will tell, I guess. Are they just burning some of the low level people, or are they going to go after people like him eventually? I really hope that's the case.
And do you believe that it goes beyond Fauci and his team?
Absolutely.
Is this only a small part of a much larger system?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the whole biodefense industry, the rot, so to speak, goes back many, many decades. Even in Eric Traub's day in the 1950s, this was already a major problem. I mean, we were letting people like Albert Sabin create the polio vaccine with these Soviet bioweaponeers. We were letting them team up with our enemy, so to speak, to create vaccines that would be injected in, would be given to many millions of Americans. And it's interesting because that same so back then in the 50s when Albert Sabin created that polio vaccine with the Soviet, it was a Soviet bioweaponeer named MP Chunkov. Well, his son was actually the one who approved the COVID vaccine and at the FDA. His son, Albert Sabin, got him a job, and his son was actually the one who approved the COVID vaccine. And but Anthony Fauci was kind of like the public head, the one to promote it publicly. He knew all about this. I mean, he knows what happens when you induce this condition, and they all do. They talk about it in their conferences where they think nobody else is listening. But then people like me, we go and we find that stuff, and it's just it's very concerning, very concerning.
So you're saying what a lot of people believe is that there was profit and industry influence in COVID
Yes.
and the vaccines.
Yeah, it definitely profit. I'm sure other agendas play in, but yeah, profit control. Big pharma is basically in bed with our public health system. So it's a, and then you have also problems where hidden enemies that have been infiltrating our government for a very long time are operating within these fields as well. That was obviously the case with Eric Traub I discussed in the Sleeper Agent. He was working for foreign powers.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't know how deep this is. We can only imagine how deep this is when you talk about big pharma and then, just people at the top. And you talked about the meetings that they have and what all they know that they keep from us, from Congress, from the world. And so let's go back to the injuries, the vaccine injuries, chronic disease. Do you feel that it's being ignored? Because like you mentioned, and we've talked about it here before on the show, there are so many vaccine injured people out there. Do you think these people are being heard?
No, not at all. They're being completely ignored. Just like I said, and the reason why they go in and they can't get any help is because that immune tolerance condition, it creates a condition where you don't make many antibodies to things. Your immune system is so suppressed that you don't have the typical inflammation involved with something like an acute disease where you can see, oh, there's heavy inflammation here. It's like very low grade. So a lot of people have chronic migraines, chronic fatigue syndrome, joint pain. And then there's a whole, like an infinite variation of different kinds of diseases unraveling at the same time within people. Because when you take out the immune system, the chronic disease that ensues unravels in its own unique way for each person. So it's almost like no two will be the same. And it creates a very complex system to navigate for public health, for the public health system. And especially when they're using the wrong diagnostic standards or biomarkers, checking your body for the wrong things, giving you the wrong test, they're not going to find anything wrong with you, even though you have a lot going on. And
Right.
that's basically what we're dealing with the vaccine injury. I've met so many people when I got Lyme disease that had an indistinguishable disease as myself that got it from common routine vaccines of every kind. So
Unbelievable.
it's, yeah,
So real accountability, it needs to happen. And if it were
yes.
pursued, who do you believe would be investigated next? And what kind of justice do you want to see?
I would like to see them address this immune tolerance, because once they are able to address immune tolerance, we can start to understand chronic disease. And there's actually, but as far as like hope for the American people and getting treated for these chronic diseases, there's actually somebody out of Japan doing some really amazing work who's been able to reverse some of these vaccine injuries so far as he can tell. It's still ongoing. He hasn't studied it long term. But his name is Kevin McCairn out of Japan, and he's been doing this treatment for people called plasmapheresis, where it takes your blood, it filters it through something, and it goes back into you, and it basically filters out all the pathogenic substances that come in from those vaccines. And he also introduces like stem cell growth factors at the same time, I believe it is. But I have been following his work for a while, and people should look him up. He might be the answer to his treatment might be the answer to this. And you know what I think is big pharma should pay for it, and then we should send them to prison.
But they won't. And they
Yeah,
probably
I
never
know.
will, as much as we fight and as
Right.
much as we hope. But there are a lot of people who are wanting to detox. A lot of people who got the vaccine, they regret getting the vaccine, and now they're wanting to detox. So I'm glad you told us that name for people to look that up.
Mhm.
Sleeper Agent, a book that you have out. What can we find inside this book? What can people learn from it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can see how far this biowarfare game goes. It goes back. I have the first American president, George Washington, quoted on the British using smallpox as a weapon. I also go into World War I. I mean, it's been going on way longer than people realize. And it's a very kind of a covert form of warfare. People will learn all about how they hide all of this biowarfare research under benign medical research or under defensive research. They will also learn of this immune tolerance condition, and a lot of people will have answers as to why they're so sick, but they're still being told they're not. And it will just it just lays out the whole biowarfare story, at least in relation to these strategic weapons that cause slow chronic diseases, instead of a fatal one where those tend to burn out quickly. So this was more of a strategic attack that was meant to happen over a long period of time. Yes, you
Unbelievable.
can
Well, we have
find it at Amazon or TrineDay.com. Books are available.
Yes, and we had your Amazon link up right there where you can go and check out his book, order yourself a copy, and learn more about this topic that affected the entire world. Adam, it's so good to have you on. Thanks for your work and for your investigations, and keep us posted on what you find.
Thank you. Great. Have a nice day.
You too. Well, Washington, D.C., as you know, is getting a makeover, and we're learning more about the big, beautiful ballroom at the White House. What's being built underneath? We'll tell you when we come back.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater, and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit SentryH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase. Well, hello everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell.
Welcome back. Let's talk about Christianity in America. There was an event at the Trump Kennedy Center where a documentary was shown on anti-Christian bias. Our Kara Castronova was there, and she stopped to talk with Dr. Ben Carson.
Here with the great Dr. Ben Carson, who's done so many great things, including standing up for Christians that are persecuted. We're here today in an event at the Trump Kennedy Center on Christian persecution. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, the key thing that Christians have to think about, the Bible says you're going to be persecuted if you follow Christ. So don't worry so much about that. Worry about the image that you give. Make sure that people know who you are and what you stand for. And there's a tendency for people to hide or just keep their mouth shut. And that provides an opportunity for the other side to just continue to magnify their power. So we have a real problem coming down the home stretch here, because all the things that the Bible says are going to happen before the end, they're happening. And particularly with AI, God's not going to leave us in a situation where we can't tell what's real and what's not real. So it tells me that things are wrapping up quickly. And just recognize, Christians, that you are going to be persecuted. The Bible says it. So don't spend all your time trying not to be persecuted. Spend all your time trying to be Christ-like.
Thank you so much. What do you think so far about the Trump administration? I know that President Trump is taking action right now with a lot of the Christians that are being persecuted in Nigeria. Do you have any thoughts or experience with that?
Well, I'm very glad he's using the power that he has to intervene in that situation. It's horrible. You can delay it to a degree by fighting it, and he knows that. And then, of course, he established a Religious Liberty Commission in this country. We've examined a lot of things that are going on, which are unbelievable. I think when the American people see some of the stuff that we've uncovered, they're going to be shocked that it's going on in this country.
What's your favorite Bible verse? Last question. I know it has to be a good one.
Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path.
I love that one too. Thank you, Dr. Carson, for everything you've done and do right now.
Will do.
All right, we're getting an up-close and personal look at the construction of the big, beautiful ballroom at the White House, ground zero to a state-of-the-art facility. Here are pictures. President Trump touring the updated progress, and he, too, talking more about Christianity in America.
I think religion is very important for a country. I think having this country was built largely on religion. If you look, it was built so. And when you have strong religion, you have less crime. It's just a fact. You know, whatever it may be, it's like, gee, I want to go to heaven, so I'm not going to do this or that. Who knows? But we have a country that was based on religion, and I'm very proud of that. And if you look and you see all of the polling, I mean, polling is so fake. But on this, it's not fake. Religion is really going up in the last year. And during the time, I mean, really during the time I first got elected in 2016, it's a much different thing. I'm very proud of that. Religion is a good thing. Christianity, it's a great thing for our country. I mean, so many of the things that we've done, the successes that we've had have been based on Christianity and religion. So I'm very proud of that. Religion is taking off like our country is taking off. Our country's hotter now than it's ever been, and I'll tell you, religion is making a tremendous comeback. You look at churches today, they're full. You go back 2-3 years, nobody was going. So we're very happy with it.
Yes, we are very happy to see. And of course, we just had the rededication to America on Sunday. To God, one nation under God. The president also discussing new expansions at the ballroom. There will be underground meeting facilities for our military, along with other office space. Now, when it comes to beautifying Washington, D.C., he's also cleaning up the streets and the National Mall. The Dems, they're furious about it.
Why do you think people are so mad about your renovations?
Because I'm doing it.
The Meridian Hill Park, you got the water flowing again, all of it, and they just seem to hate you for
well,
it.
It's a sad thing, actually. You know, and it's very nice. I appreciate the question. First I said, oh, this is going to be a negative question. Then I heard she's really saying, why do they hate you for fixing the water fountains? So, you know, we have 40. I know, because I want to see Washington be beautiful. To me, it's very important. But as an example, you mentioned the water fountain. We didn't have one water fountain, and I think we have 40. We didn't have one in Washington that worked. And soon they'll all be working. Many of them work right now. And I think one of the best things, President Obama, President Biden spent much more than $100 million on the reflecting lake between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. They spent much more. They spent, some people say, $200 million. You know what they got out of it? A closed lake. It never opened. And when it did, it shut right away. It leaked. It was a disaster. I'm doing a job on the reflecting lake for a fraction of what they paid. Now, I've upgraded it I got so into it, I've upgraded it like you wouldn't believe. I'm doing all the walkways outside. I'm doing it properly. But it's a much bigger job. But you see it's happening now. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be waterproof. It's going to be reflecting again. I took over a dirty, filthy thing that wasn't open, and it was disgusting. And friends of mine would come to the Lincoln or the Washington, and they'd say, sir, it's disgusting. I said, what's disgusting? The reflecting lake. So I drove down. I looked with Secretary Burgum, who's fantastic, of Interior. He's fantastic. And we got together. And we have, it's under construction right now. I want to get it open before July 4th, which we'll easily be able to do. It'll be open before that, but easily be able to do. July 4th being a very special day. And it is going to be beautiful. Beautiful blue color, dark blue color. It's very reflective. I put a thing out yesterday showing the reflection. We did a little test. We wanted to see it. It's unbelievable. It's like a mirror.
Did it look good?
Well, it's like a mirror. It's beautiful.
As for the ballroom, as you know, it's needed. It's a place for us to host foreign dignitaries, elite guests, and events with top-notch security for generations to come.
But you have to understand, when this is finished, my term ends shortly after that. This is really for other presidents. This is not for me. This is my gift to the United States of America. I'm going to be able to use it very little because when it's finished, we're talking about 6 or 7 months. But it will be used for hopefully hundreds of years for other presidents. And there will never be anything like this built again. There'll never be a room built like with the safety. As an example, if we had the White House Correspondents' Dinner here, would have been no problem.
And to be nice, the president was in a good mood, so he fed the press, having the White House chef make breakfast even for the fake news media. So that was going on at the construction site where the new big, beautiful ballroom is being built. A lot of cleanup process around D.C. has needed to be done for years. The National Mall, as the president just mentioned, it was filthy. The water was brown in the reflecting pool. Water fountains, like he just said, they were broken all across the city. And just in time for summer festivities for America's birthday, our nation's capital is getting that much-needed makeover. cleaning up the city. So good to see. All we needed was a new president. All right, it's also a big day for Melania Trump. The House passing a bill to move forward her initiative for foster children. We'll have more on this when we come back.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice, speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free. Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code LINDELL10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code LINDELL10 and get the medicine you need.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LINDELLTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater, and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase.
Following Melania Trump this morning, the U.S. House of Representatives unanimously passed the Fostering the Future Act, championed by First Lady Melania Trump. It was a great bipartisan success.
We are so fortunate and honored to have the First Lady, Miss Melania Trump, with us today.
Over the past year, a bipartisan group of members of this committee has been working to develop and introduce common sense reforms to make sure SHAFE dollars are getting to the youth that need them.
The First Lady's bold Fostering the Future initiative has put a new spotlight on our nation's foster youth. The priorities that you have identified align strongly with the bipartisan reforms this committee has proposed to the SHAFE program.
We are gathered here today, not because America's children rely on us, but rather because America's children are our moral equals. As parents and leaders, it is our ethical obligation to ensure American children develop emotionally and physically.
This is what's at stake, the opportunities for foster youth to live more fulfilling lives.
The First Lady is now calling on the Senate to get this bill passed over the finish line. She says, quote, "Let's support our next generation and swiftly get this to the president for his signature." All right, let's see how the markets are opening today. Taking a quick look at opening bell numbers over on Wall Street from MarketWatch.com. Live numbers right here. Really paying close attention, as we always do, to the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. We're still watching for major earnings reports from NVIDIA, and the latest Federal Reserve signals. Meeting minutes will be released today there. Treasury yields remain elevated, keeping pressure on growth stocks. Semiconductor stocks are rebounding. Intel, Micron Technology, and Marvell Technology all up today. So far, so good. A good rebound this morning over on Wall Street. Love seeing when we start the day in the green. All right, in your news to go, a quick glimpse of the president's schedule today and later this week. The president just boarded Air Force One. He is traveling right now to Connecticut. He will deliver the commencement address to the United States Coast Guard Academy. You can watch live coverage at 11 a.m. Eastern this morning on LINDELLTV. Now, looking ahead to Friday, the president will be in New York to deliver remarks in Suffern. You can also find live coverage of the speech on LINDELLTV. And of course, for all your news headlines 24/7, you can log on to LINDELLTV.com, and you can also download the LINDELLTV app. It is free in your app store. Now to our Bible verse of the day, coming from the book of James. The Bible says this: "The effective prayer of a righteous man can accomplish much." So what this is telling you is to pray, and your prayers will be answered. Quick mention, MyPillow.com. We saw Mike Lindell has been doing some wonderful sprucing up around the MyPillow factories, the warehouse in Minnesota. We just saw that this week. We showed you that here on My Mornings. So they are ready to ship out all of their great products to you. There's so many products to choose from, and you can't go wrong with anything on the My Pillow website. Trust me on this. Everything I've ordered is great. I have a house full of My Pillow products, from the slippers to the bath towels to the pillows to the bed sheets, you name it. Everything is great coming from the wonderful Mike Lindell and his team over at My Pillow. So you can go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Vanessa for extra savings. And trust me on this, the savings are really good. Mike Lindell was very generous when he gave us that promo code. Use the promo code Vanessa for extra savings on your order. And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. And we leave you today with beautiful sights from Wyoming. Have a great day.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice, speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free. Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code LINDELL10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code LINDELL10 and get the medicine you need.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LINDELLTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.